Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Two Doors podcast. I am here with the amazing Nilu, who's a prominent health tech leader and the Chief Information Officer at Histopath, where he's been instrumental in driving innovation healthcare solutions. With a background in health technology and a degree from Macquarie University, Nilu has successfully led initiatives that include achieving FDA clearance for advanced diagnostic tools. His experience lies in integrating technology with healthcare to enhance patient outcomes, making him a valuable voice in discussions about the future of health tech. Join us as we explore his insights and experience in this evolving field. I'm very excited. Welcome to the podcast, Nilu.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah. It's good to be here.
Oh, likewise. And how do you feel when you hear that intro?
It's been surreal, right? I've been working in the healthcare sector for almost 26 years. Humble beginnings, answering phone calls and things and then with the right guidance, changing technology and healthcare innovations coming in, you actually get to see the change. So within 2 decades of working in hospitals, building tech, and then now building Gen AI, building high-performing teams, you get to see some cool stuff. And it's been a ride. So listening to it instead of, sort of going like, what's unique, but it's been a very cool journey.
Yes.
And then what I'm proud of.
And you've got some big wins behind you as well, right? We can maybe touch on some of those if you can share with everyone. And also, I'd love to jump in. Well, what does the future of tech look like?
So I started out in radiology, out in primary healthcare back in those days, all of the greenfield, brownfield sites, then led their technology team for radiology, then moving to private equity, government stuff and then done some, couple of $1 billion deal closures one from selling and one from buying perspective. Was part of one of the biggest listings when ACL listed out and Boston & Sun Doctors, which I was CIO of as well. Then I was a CIO of PRP, who got bought by MF. Then one of the unicorn startups in Australia for health tech, was co-founder of that, and then moved into Histopath and one of Crescent Capital's projects So there's some highlights but people around there is a big thing. And where CTech goes a little while ago, I was part of a group who sort of was creating this thing for what health doctors find. And tech will lead us into an area where preventative health and point of care takes precedence over reactive. So most of the time we go to a doctor, we do certain things when something happens to us. So in emergency departments, there's this thing called like Googling. You see people panic because of the information overload. But where I do really see healthcare moving with technologies, we use all the information we have, all the compute we have, and if you see, from quantum compute to Google's new infrastructure stuff we have the ability to crunch huge amount of data for the individual and build longevity programs, if you may, which will tell you how to stay healthy. So I myself has been in a healthcare journey. I had a whole bunch of stuff I've lost tons of weight and changing. According to my lovely wife, I look better than I was when I got married. So she says, just have trouble. But the entire thing is that how do we, help the population? And with teching, drilling down data, understanding who you are, the age of personalization of healthcare will be around. And that's what I'm so excited about.
There was a lot in that, from, to clarify, $1 billion deals to, it sounds that technology is going to more of a holistic. Like I have definitely seen the longevity piece. People are talking anti-aging and all of this kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, kudos to you. You have looked younger over the time that I've known you. So there's a few secrets to listen. So I love that about the data piece as well. And what about, is security a big thing in the health sector? Or maybe you can share with us all, like, what's up and coming? Like, obviously you've got your ear to the floor of knowing what's going on.
Data is a big thing. And with data comes in security. So before, 10 years ago, people were so worried about biomedical matter. So, your DNA, how do you do? Before that, it was fingerprints, and then, in between retinas and things came, biometrics. So as time goes by in this age, what we really see is data has become key. And if you listen to the elections out in the US, they all talk about trends and data on behavior. Health data is very valuable, and there will be people who use it for many reasons. So if we touch on it, we have a lot of laws and stuff governing some of these data protections and what we do. But at the same time, how we protect and manage large volumes of data is an open statement, which runs from traditional database with all the security and identity things that are coming into blockchain ecosystems where data is spread out. And if you look at it, some of the big governments and healthcare providers are now following the banking sector to create data on the chain. Now, that doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It just means everyone's working on few platforms. There are a few identity platforms available at the moment, which helps deal with it. And, when I say identity platform, Facebook, Google, Apple, the single point of sign-off, right? It just confirms who you are. So, healthcare will be definitely vulnerable in that data structuring, but in my head, the first piece is how do you get the data, right? And just to touch on it, one of the things is the gear, I call it, in healthcare. And both of us know a common friend who running on Lab Flowing, and they're creating this thing for that. How do you create an interpolation layer within the 100 different doctors, hospitals, holistic people right? And we've got to acknowledge the traditional medicine side of the world as well, right? So how do you get data from all of them and create a single picture? You need those gears. So first and foremost is security. Security comes in traditional fashion, but it's how do you get this vast data and put it into a structure that is readable. And there's tons of stuff on graphs, things in like that comes in. So security will be secondary in my head until we create a system. First thing is how do you understand the data? And as a data scientist, most people will talk about some of these things like getting data to be valuable is about how clean, how accurate, how the links work. And, sometimes the data is important, but the purity of it. So we got to build a data structure. Once you build a data structure, how do you protect it comes in next. So, Rome wasn't built in a day. And in my olden age, I tend to talk in parallels and things like that. First step, let's gather the data. Second step, let's index it in and create a usable platforming. Third, let's then really see how can we secure it to access. And the reason I bring out the chain, and this is nothing to do with like the coin or any of the other stuff on the financial market, is there's a thing called zero knowledge proofs. So what it means is they're very secure, but they answer a question with a simple yes or no answer. Sometimes all in healthcare is, to know from a doctor's perspective or a hospital perspective, does he or she have an allergy? Or do they have an allergy, right? So suddenly you creating this platform you walk into a plane, have they had a COVID test the last 2 weeks? Yes. Was it positive? No. Good. You don't need to know complex answers. Don't need to know complex data structures. You need to know very simple data structures that's, non-corruptible. And so those are the 3 stages I see. I know there's a lot in there in terms of vision and things but baby steps. Let's get the data, put it in, let's bring that people together, let's then build stuff in. And that's why for me, with the guys from compliance of creating a gear for interpolation of messages and information. And to be honest, this project was first looked at by My Health Records. Though in Australia, it wasn't a big success and there's a big push to it. My Health Records vision was, and I was meeting with one of their lead guys for the other day, was to create that. How do we take the healthcare records of all Australians into a readable format? Where some of them failed and some of them succeed is separate discussion, but that is the right step, I think.
Yeah, I like how you explain it that it's secondary, and it's also because there is so much data out there, and it's like all of these different systems talking to each other. I helped a startup many moons ago. There's now a huge application. If you go into the doctors who'd use them, and they had to create this complex technology to talk with so many different systems. So I know what your point is there on the data, and maybe switching gears because I love talking about high performing teams, and you've obviously been you've been a CTO, you're now CIO, and tell me like some of the wisdoms that you've got from creating high performing teams.
So there's a very big difference in mind shift for me. When I was starting my career and building teams I had over 100 people at one time in my team. It was all about family and structure. But then one of the biggest health tech CEOs said to me once, family and teams are different. So how do I want to create a really high performance team is one, have a common vision. The biggest mistake tech leaders make is hiring senior people who are techie. We don't look at leaders. That is to how do you first create a high performing team as a senior person is to have your people right under you be leaders, not tech experts. And if I look at a lot of startups who are struggling, it's because you have amazing techs leading, but their strength is not actually building a team or guiding a team or creating these things. Project managers, scrum masters, COOs, right? The reason they're important is because they can run operationally. I was interviewing someone today, and one of the things I asked him was, how do you deal with conflict? He gave me a very technical answer. But the simple answer is, I go and ask them what the problem is and listen. That's it, right? But you don't need all of them. So how do you build high-performing teams? So means one, have a common goal and a common vision, and that comes from the very top. What is your mission statement? Most of us don't know what our mission statement means. It's like a histopath where I'm right now. We build that. That was our first part. What do you want to do? What do you want to be? When you know that, you find people right under you who can help you achieve that goal fast and keeping cost and time in line, right? Like being fast without spending tons of money is also not a good thing, right? Because then you get the vision. Then you get the people who can lead. Then you build the taxing. Then you build the tech stacks, right? And then suddenly, without realizing it, you're hitting goals. You're hitting these little nuggets of gold in, and you diversify, you build a portfolio. And without you knowing it, you increase performance, you hit your targets, you help the company grow, and you build IP, as well as other revenues the business was not aware of. Now, that is the team you want to be part of. And you have then retention.
Yes.
Retention is so important. Work-life balance comes in. Because, and this is why I say, like, when you become family, work-life balance goes away. But it's our job as leaders to make sure we give them the ability to have a work-life balance, right?
And on that point as well, let's talk about leadership. How would you define leadership? Because I mean, I've got my own opinion from what I've seen of interviewing thousands of people, meeting many people, and I often put it down to like accountability. Like, is this person, what would you define when you look for a leader? Is there traits? Is there things that you look for?
A leader for me is one simple thing, and this is the motto I live by. Your successes are yours, your failures are mine. Right? The reason for that is that's what I said to my team whenever I first start. I have your back. The biggest trait I see on leadership and successful leaders are they will let you fly and they will catch you when you fall. And then that's my benchmark for any great leader. And I will follow those people myself, right? As a CIO or CTO running through in those lead roles, you meet amazing people. Some of them are like really hard and tough and things in, but the moment they value you and put you front for your successes, but also, you could do it, right? And it's this motto of fail fast. For me, fail fast is not that great. But what I really do want to is, let me succeed fast. And if you succeed fast, your failures are insignificant.
That's huge. That is huge. Say that again.
Yes, succeed fast. Right? So which means your failures are insignificant.
Because that's what a lot of people say, don't they? Oh, like fail fast, fail often. But I like that. I've never heard that from the flip side, which is succeed fast. And yeah, it's huge because you have to get the momentum. But then, so you're saying that leaders, they protect their people. And what about the in terms of, so they obviously set vision. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They look after their team, and then there's different types of leadership, I feel.
There are many layers of leadership, but that's a personal trait, right?
Yeah.
And it changes from business to business. The field we are, I am in healthcare, there's care in the end of the word. And healthcare is based on care. So as a leader in healthcare, if you can't take care of your people, it's not there. So leadership qualities is that, right? It's all about how do you motivate, how do you keep someone, engaged. And all of them brings in that. And the thing is, the reason I say success fast is like people get stuck on failures and they try to nitpick it and they don't celebrate the successes. And leadership qualities have different things, right? You find a lot of techie leaderships who basically run on notions and things running on like chat circles, and we talk about in depth scrums and things like that, which are words of development cycle we used. Like I myself, I'm qualified in PMP, right? It's project management on Prince 2. All of them are, designed to be targeted goal oriented. You need it. But hitting a goal is not all that you need to celebrate, all that you need to achieve. Then we become, when I first started, like a funny story actually from one of the guys who's a CIO at another health company. He was my bossing. And Steve, if you're listening, this is about you. He said to me, Nilu, there's two kinds of engineers and tech people. One is like a trained monkey who ticks boxes. The other one is an engineer who will go through and understand why you are ticking the box. And sometimes he might say like, you're wrong. So leadership is like that, right? There's no set book. There's no set industry. But for me, working on software, project, hospitals and all of them, the traits I see is that let your people have them succeed and have a vision to the larger business, right? And the traits, traits are traits. It's an individual thing. And if you're a dictator, you build a team of dictators. And if you come from this large corporate structure, which is built on some of the, I call it like the investment banking structure, then it's policies, procedures, steps. There's no right or wrong way. It's how do you get your existing team. And this leads me into one of the other things that we live in. You try to motivate the team you have within boundaries when you take on a new role. A lot of the leaders you see will inherit people and culture, right? That's why it's not human resources anymore, it's people and culture, right? So at the moment you inherit the people and the culture. So I think adaptability to that is also.
There's a lot of wisdom in that. For people listening, I'm going to have to go back and listen to this myself because it's brilliant. And I think that there's also hard work that comes into it because you're one of the hardest workers I know. And I love it. I always love our conversation. There's always energy, it's high energy because you put hard work in. And the industry is changing for more juniors. Like, I mean, I've had to humble people a lot last year because of the massive uptake of where we had lockdown, the economy stopped, then massive uptake. And then after that, it was leveling out and all of these juniors wanted a lot of money.
Yep.
And now it's like going the other way, but people are now, culture is in like a weird place, isn't it? It's online, it's hybrid. People don't know, should I be working on this? Should I be working on that? But people who are more junior, like what advice would you give them these days? So
I spoke to a group of young graduates in about 2 weeks ago. From a cultural background, I like to spend a lot of time helping anyone who has an idea. And that's a question. They wanted to have 4-day week. One of them was stats and went in to a huge firm and he virtually walked in and said, like, if you can't give me part-time work, I don't yet. I'm like, I just shook him and said, like, I just grabbed him on the shoulder. I was like, what are you doing? The reason is have goals. I actually, for myself, have very short-term goals sometimes, which is 3, 6 months, and then 5 years. The reason for that is if you look at what we are going to achieve in 3 months, you'll actually realize you are willing to sacrifice some of these realities that was never available for my generation and my parents and my elders' generations. They are for you because of an event that happens 1 in 100 years. You cannot base your life on an event that happened 1 in every 100 years because you will never see that again in your lifetime. To be honest, my goal is to make you see in your lifetime and while doing all of these things there to get you to live to 100 plus years, right?
Yes.
But what young people need to realize is they have to find a compromise and sacrifice, right? And in that 5-year plan, how do you get to there is the thing they're missing. But if you have a 5-year vision statement, and I'm sounding a little bit hippie right now on vision statement, but that's reality, right? You know, I want to have that, I want to get it. And for me, it was, I want to achieve this. And then, 3 years ago, I want to buy that. It can be materialistic, it can be achievements, it can be something, I want to have this car, I want to have this house, I want to be able to work 4 days and maintain this lifestyle for this amount. When you know that 5-year goal, you'll realize what you're demanding today will never let you achieve it. Then create small, tangible, reachable goals. And I was just like that. In 2000, when I started working in, I wanted to take over the world. And the funny story was that he said, "That's go and plug it in at this hospital." I want to write it in a book. And I was the challenge, but that was because I went to him after a week and said, "I want to be a senior. Here's a book full of calls I've done. This is the next one." And that's when I realized that humbling experience. And the one was, I need to know what this is. Need to understand what it does. And as a result, I've been to some of the biggest data centers in the world, set up some cool tech, right? But that is how you get there. You have to know your vision far away and then make compromises throughout. So that's what humbling, and that's what I would say to someone. By all means, be free. By all means, take that shortcut in and expect to get all that money. But if you say, I'm out of university and I want a 200K job, and you look at what jobs are available, you're never going to do well. Are you going to study? Are you going to research? Are you going to spend 10 years reaching that? Or are you going to get that $75,000 job, work your ass off, get a $100,000 job in 6 months or a year, and then get a $150,000 job in another saving? You know what? In a year and a half to 2 years, you achieve that dream. If not, if you want that big bang approach, it's going to take you 5 years. So I've seen that I had people who were with university with me. One of my proudest and saddest moments were the guy I thought was smartest in our class to have for an interview.
Wow.
And I was interviewing him and I'm like, hold on, you should be 10 times better than me. And that was the reason. Because he was super smart, he didn't want to compromise when he started. And the guy actually wanted to be a cybersecurity expert without knowing networks, so I went through the first BT. I'm like, we're going to hit the ceiling very soon. You can go and get these cool jobs, but if the foundation is there. So that's my 2 cents for young people. Know what you want to be in 5 years, then make a plan 3-6 months at a time. And without, before you even blink an eye knowing it in, you're there. And you'll be there fast.
Yeah. I think they should be teaching that at school about direction or drive, or there should be like emotional intelligence classes of going, hey, the biggest gift you're going to get from this journey is who you become.
Yeah.
Because it's like when you've gone through that hardship, you're just so proud and go, I did that, I've achieved that. Yeah. Whereas I find sometimes where people are A-grade students and like the highest of the high, they almost like want everything to be perfect. So they don't keep achieving the success because they're so worried of getting an F. And it's like, just because you get an F, it means you can learn. And I'm finding it a lot with some of the younger generation that they're just like, they don't even want to start because they're, what's the point? Yeah. Well, what's the point of playing small? What's the point of not achieving your dreams? What's the point of just never becoming your potential? I think that's the worst thing, isn't it? Getting to the end and go, you had so much potential. It's like, I want to be so injured, so like just hanging off from my skeleton that I'm just like, I achieved.
Yeah. And then that's the thing, right? That drive for achievement. but in it you succeed and you celebrate little successes. We build a world or culture, if you may, where you celebrate really big things, but you don't celebrate little small things. And I'm a big fan of celebrating big things, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, small things, and pride in work ethic. Most of the times I see, some of the staff I've had younger staff they finish at 5, they look at the clock. But then there's some people who finish at 5, but they go home and they learn, they spend time on their own to develop the growth thing. And there are a lot of juniors are innovative, who they concentrate on the work to learn, and then suddenly they'll go home and they'll work again to build something else, right? And learn something. So, I think it's cool. Like, learning new things are always common, right? And, if you be honest, for the buyer, you just learn something, right? And these are the tricks you want to do. Yeah.
It's, you always have to keep learning. My thoughts are that progress is happiness, and you have to keep, because when you stop learning, that's I think when you're dead, and you're no one's gonna help you with longevity there. It's the mind, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. It's been brilliant, Nilu. Is there anything else that you'd love to share with anybody that's listening out?
No, I think what you're doing is pretty cool, right? Yeah. I think sharing knowledge is important. So one of the main things for me is like, people need to share knowledge. And this touches to internal high achieving teams, and how do you bring the next generation of high achievers in. And one of these things in. You've got to create a society where seniors and people who've done something in life can pass on their wisdom. So my last set of things is, don't be afraid to talk shit to youngsters and people around you, because you know what? There are wisdom that you don't know. I don't know. And this is why we had this conversation. We talk a lot, and we have actually go like, no one knows about this stuff. But for me, it might be very common. It might be, assumed knowledge. So impart wisdom. And I am here because my seniors impart that wisdom on me. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity.
And you're passing that on to others as well. So I noticed that you're a great man, Nilu. So thank you very much. This has been brilliant.
Cheers. Thanks, my friend. Thank you.